Whoa, you're back. Hey guys, I'm gonna make this video a little short today. It's not gonna be anything about mechanics or anything. I'm gonna tell you a story about this car. Those of you who've been hoping that I can start work on this car, work is about to begin. But basically, this car did not start out its life with a 383. It's actually a 361 car. It was an automatic. In 1985, I found a 66 Charger for sale and I bought the whole running gear out of it. The transmission hump, the clutch, the pedals, all of that stuff. Plus the 8 3/4 rear end. Was a 323 Sure Grip. And I put that in like 1985, 86-ish. But let me tell you how I got this car. It was about 43 years ago. My brother actually bought this car. It was sitting out in a parking lot. And earlier that day, I had saw this car sitting in that parking lot. And I thought, man, that's an awesome looking car. I really... You know, as a kid, your car, yeah, you just like cars, you know. You didn't care which one you got, a Camaro, a Chevy, a Mopar, a Ford. You just wanted a car and you wanted to be cool. You wanted to put mags on it. You want to throw as much chrome on it as you can. So I saw this car. I thought it was really cool. So I went about my day, came home, and that car was sitting in the driveway. And I was like, wow, what's going on here? And I went in, hey, why is that car here? Did you guys buy the car? So yeah, my brother and my dad went together and bought this car for my brother. And so that's how we got the car. That night that we bought it, it was actually, they bought it later in the evening. Later that night, it was dark, I remember. And when I got home, and my brother was about to go pick up Johnny from boot camp. He was just getting out of boot camp, and I wanted to go. So we went and picked up his brother. I think we went and picked up Tom, and then we shot down to SeaTac Airport. Well, this drunk guy decided he wanted to accuse us of doing things, burnouts, and driving reckless in this car all day long in front of his house. Well, we had just gotten the car, so that wasn't possible. He chased us all the way to SeaTac Airport, throwing things at us, you know, threatening us. And so we got into the airport, told the security guard, hey, don't let that guy in. He's been chasing us, and we don't even know who this guy is. So I said, okay, he's not coming in. So we picked up Johnny from the airport. We're driving him back home. And we just got through dropping him off at his mom's apartment, which happens to be the same apartment complex that the guy lived in who sold the car. So it must have been him or his friends or whatever, you know, driving the car around that day to make this guy think that we were the ones doing it. Anyway, so here pops out the same guy, right? And so he starts at us. We're in the car. So we just start the car up, we drive, and we start to drive around the block. Well, here this guy runs across this field, seeing that we took the next turn to come back around to the backside of the apartments, and he's running and he throws a knife. This knife had to have been, you know, 10, 12 inches long with a great big steel ball at the end of it. And he busted out the windshield, which is still missing. Let's see. So my brother, he sees this guy coming, so he gasses it. Cars, the exhaust used to stick out right here. So it just came off the headers and just a couple of turbo mufflers, and bam, out they used to come in front of the tires. And so it was a little bit loud. So he gasses the car, and we're going to try and avoid this guy, but we couldn't. He throws the knife, breaks the window real good. And so my brother slams on the brakes. Everybody's coming out. Cops are called. This guy gets hauled off to jail. Unfortunately, my brother got hauled off to jail. And so we tow the car to the house, and that car sat in our garage for a long time. Shortly after we got the car, my brother moved to California. He gives me a phone call and says, hey, do you want that black car in the garage? You can have it. I said, you bet I want that thing. So it became my car, I don't know, 6 months, maybe a year after we had that car sitting in the garage. So we moved from that house to another house, and the car got towed from that house to the other house, and there it sat. So that was, maybe it sat a couple years in that garage, and then it sat another 4 or 5 years in that other garage, until about 1990, when I was tired of the car sitting around. So I got her running and was able to, drive it around. I didn't drive it a whole lot. From the time that we actually got this car, I've probably only put maybe 1,000 miles on that car from the time we got it till now, because it's usually just sitting in the garage, and it's always been garage. It had maybe a short little stay outside under a car cover, but the car's always been in the garage. I was never letting this car ever sit outside. I didn't like it sitting outside. So anyway, back to the story. So I put the thing together in 1990 and drove it around, here and there, just running it around. You got to drive your car. You got a hot rod, you got to drive it. So fast forward to about 2018 or so. My buddy says, hey, so-and-so wants to see your car, drive it on down. So I'm heading down there, and I hadn't driven it for a while, and I get on the freeway and I hear this, front tires are like skidding, making skidding noises, with the, and then I would turn to another lane and it would kind of go away until I straightened out in that other lane, and then the noise would start back up. And I'm like, oh man, something's going on with this car. So I pull it off to the side of the road, and the tires were like out like this and pointed up like this. I mean, they were just, and I said, oh man, I can't drive it like this. So, drove it about another mile back home like that, and decided to start accumulating parts to just rebuild the front end, because all the rubber had just dried up and just fell out. There was no rubber left on the A-arm bushings or the lower control arm bushings. Anything that was rubber in the front there was toast. It was gone. So I bought the stuff to fix that. Then, as I was putting that together, I thought, you know what? I've got the front end out of this, and let's just pull the motor and paint the engine compartment. So I pulled the motor out, dropped the K-frame, cleaned that up, painted that all up, and then decided to paint the engine compartment. And then I was going to just, clean up the engine and put it back in. Well, then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I've got this engine out. Why don't I knew that it needed valve guide seals because it used to smoke a little bit on the startup. And then I could see the little pieces of rubber from the valve guide seals in the on top of the head one time when I took the valve cover off. And so I was going to put valve guide seals in it. Well, once I took the valve guides, I was trying to pressurize the cylinder, and they would hardly pressurize, and it was just psss, you can hear noise coming out of the intakes. And so the valves were shot. So I pulled the heads off to, I thought, what's it going to take? A couple head gaskets, lap the valves, get the valves cleaned up, put new valve guide seals in it, and put it back together with some new head gaskets. And then once I started that, I had the heads off. Well, hey, you know what? I might as well pull these pistons out and put some new rings in it. And on and on and on, this project went on just like that. Well, hey, once I have it out, all this looks beautiful. I might as well just take this out and clean it so it doesn't look so bad against all this new paint and all this new stuff. And then I thought, oh, well, you know what? The interior, the engine compartment looks great. Man, I've got this thing in the garage. Let's just sand it down, do the body work, and paint it. And so on and on. I just kind of YouTubed how to paint cars, how to mix it, how to do, body work. And so now the car is, for my first time painting a car, first time doing body work, I think I did a pretty good job. I did miss a few spots. I was kind of in a hurry because right when I started to put this car together, I found out that I had to move. I had 10 months to move. So I had 10 months to either fix the car or turn it back into a roller. So I can roll the car and tow it away and put it back into in another garage. Which it ended up here. I ended up buying this house and putting this car in the garage. And then life goes on. I lost momentum. It sat here for 4 years. What else can I say about this car? Yeah, so one thing led to another. Then I bought disc brakes for it. So everything in here is new polyurethane, new disc brake system. Goodness gracious, new tie rod ends. The car is for its age, it's in better shape than I am. We got an 8 3/4 rear end in here, so I'm gonna have to put a new gas tank in it. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to do that, or at least I want to do that. Put a new tank in. I still have not put the rear discs on this, so it's going to be 4-wheel disc brakes. That's because that's what the kit was, to do it all. And then I started just taking things apart and cleaning it, and then polishing the chrome. And so, like I said, I lost momentum when I had to move, and then I just had a lot of things coming down the alley and was not able to get momentum to put this car back together. So now I'm going to get focused. I'm not going to accept any more side projects. This is going to be my side project, so I could start driving this this summer that's coming up. I bought these shorty headers to put on there, and they would have worked, except they don't work with power steering. They only work with manual steering, and since I want it to be a cruiser, I want to keep the power steering that's in it, so I can't use those. I'm going to go back with the long tube headers that were on it. I'm just going to clean those up, maybe have them powder coated, or I might just go old school and spray them white and heat soak them to get that white paint to stay nice. I've got all the new rubbers for the tail lights and for the doors. I got the new rubbers that go down in here, and new rubbers for here, new rubbers for around the door. I got new carpet. There's the carpet sitting right there. I rebuilt the shifter. I took it apart. It was a little loose. There's some things that needed to be, I welded it up, built it up and ground them down. Shifter's nice and tight, shifts nice. That is the undesirable shifter. It is not a Hurst shifter, but I wanted to keep it kind of stock. I do have a Hurst, brand new Hurst shifter that I could put in here, but I'm gonna see if this one does the job. But if that one doesn't do the job, if I don't like the factory shifter, nobody likes those, I'll put the Hurst shifter that I have in it. What else can I tell you? You guys really gotta like the first gens in order to like these things, if you know what I mean. A lot of people don't. A lot of people think the 68s are the way to go, 68 through 70, and they're nice. The Coke bottle design is great. I love them too. But since this is actually technically also my first car that I've driven other cars. I didn't get to drive this one. I actually got a 74 Datsun B210 to actually drive, and it was rust, man. That thing was a piece of junk, but I had fun in that car. That's the car that I drove around, put the miles on, and beat up and do. I didn't want to do it with this one. Even though I was a kid, I still knew there was something special about this car, and I didn't want to damage it. Everybody that was my age were wrecking their cars and smashing them and, racing them and beating them up. I didn't want to do that, not with this. And I'm glad I didn't, because here it is. It's still in one shape. It isn't a factory 383 or a 440 car. It's not a factory 4-speed. But at this point, it does not matter. It's just an old, cool car. So we're going to get it together. I will make videos of, cleaning up the grill. I've got one of the rotating headlights done. I need to get the other one done. I'm going to kind of refurb and paint and polish the grill. and you know, get the exhaust brought all the way to the back. Well, it already is actually. Here's where the exhaust come out now, right there. And I really like that. That's kind of cool. So we just need to, you know, put the headers back on and then just re-weld them up. It does not have a crossover on it, but that's one thing I'm going to add. I'm going to add an H-pipe to put on there. We're going to get, probably not use these modular or modern centerline knockoff wheels. They look nice on it, but they're 14-inch. So I want to go a little bit bigger with the rim and a little bit smaller with the rubber. I don't want, you know, to be riding on rails. I don't want to be riding on rubber bands, but I want the tire maybe a little bit bigger, maybe some 17s or something. So, oh, and if you look at it, do you see how close it is up here? This was kind of common with the with these cars, that the wheel's really close up front. So they do make spring perches for the front that bolt on up there that are an inch longer. That'll push that axle back just a little bit. But when I do that, I'm going to have the drive line extended probably an inch. I might be able to get away with it, you know, just popping out 1 inch, because it does go in. It fits in there perfectly now. But if I pull the drive line back, I might have to extend the drive line. Have it made, maybe just make a new one just a little bit longer, 1 inch longer. So that's it, pretty much in a nutshell. Love this car, and I want to love to get working on it. So if you guys love this car like I do, like and subscribe. See you later.